In this video, we're going to create this React application, which allows you to upload a video. Once you upload that video, you'll have a screen that looks like Descript, where you have the video on the right-hand side, the transcription for that video, and the audio waveform underneath, as well as this playback control to allow you to seek the video and click play on the video. We do this all with the help of Cursor. Cursor generates most of the code for us. In fact, I didn't have to generate any code in order to create this application, and in this video you're going to see how I did that. We're going to start by creating the app design here. We just want a simple design to be able to talk to an LLM and tell it to build out the template for our application. So we're going to build an editor, and what the editor is going to have is we want to build it like Descript. So on Descript we have a page like this, and on the top right we have the video editor, so the video component, and then on the left hand side we have the transcription, and then in the bottom is where we have the audio waveform as a timeline. I don't think there's anything else. We do have some playback controls, so let me add those as well. Let me just say play, no, not there. Playback controls. This will control the speed of our video, the playing and stopping the video, pausing it. And see, I think that's all we need. So this is ultimately what we want to have, but in order to get the transcription and get the video on this page, we need to upload it. So we're going to need another page where we upload the video, and so it'll be an upload page, we can call it. Let's see, can I add, let's just call this the edit page, and this one will be the upload page. And on this upload page we're going to have something like a window where you can drag your video. They're usually dotted like this, and here you can drag to upload video, or it'll have a button. That button can say the same thing. It'll just be upload, and let's make sure we color that element so it's clear that it's a button. That's good enough, and I don't think we need anything else. Obviously we'll need a home page because you want to have a nice page that your users land on to describe what your application does before you have them, you display a page that shows them the tools. So we'll call this the home page, and on the home page we'll just have a app title. Let's just have that in the middle. Let me make it smaller. I really wish this, I'm not really familiar with this tool yet. I just started using it, but let's see. If I click on this, they're not together. Whatever, that's good enough. And then underneath, there's not going to be a lot of functionality in the beginning. All we want to present to the user is information, marketing material about app. And let's see, we want a header as well. In all of these components we should have header. I wish it was, I'm used to drawing with draw.io, but I started using this one because you can export this as XML. Anyways, so header icons for app navigation. Okay, that looks pretty good. So on this header you'll have home button, you'll have the upload icon that you can click on to navigate you to this page. This main page, the home page, is going to just describe what our application does so that when you're landing on the website you can get an understanding. Right now all we're going to do is create these 3 pages, and over these next few videos we'll end up creating all of these elements, but right now we just want to start with uploading a video on a React application. We don't have any templates. We're starting from scratch here, and we're going to use Cursor to build all of this for us. So I want to build this upload page, and I want to create a template. I don't know if you can upload images to Cursor. I haven't tried it, but what I'm going to do is have Claude generate the template for this application. So I'm going to open up Claude. Here's Claude, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this image here. of this page. Let's include the title. That's good. And I'm gonna drag it over to Claude, and I'm going to prompt it to create my template page. Please create a react.js application that takes in a video file as an upload. Once the user has uploaded a video, it'll take them to an edit page where the user can view the video that they have uploaded. I'm just using Whisper Flow to be able to just speak my prompt. And building out this page is simple enough. So now I want to also tell it to build this one, because these two are pretty simple. So if it's really complex, the app that you're trying to design, then you would want to just prompt it with one page at a time. I do have a lot of components here, like the transcription, the playback controls, the audio waveform as a timeline. Really, I should have just given it a page with just a video, but it's okay if it does these for us. We will work with that because eventually we do want to add these. In the meantime, it can just have mock data. We won't be transcribing the video yet. And if it finds a JavaScript library that it can use to display the audio waveform, then great. But if it doesn't, it's okay. It might even try to implement the transcription service. It might try to implement Whisper if it's familiar with that, although I'm pretty sure it is. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how much of it implements. But really, I just want to be able to view the video that I've uploaded as a start. I think that prompt is pretty good. Let me just confirm it. The edit page contains the transcription of the video on the left and the video to the right of that transcription. For now, I only need you to allow the user to preview the video. The transcription can be mock data, and underneath the transcription and the video are the playback controls for the video. And underneath that is the audio waveform of that video. For now, please just implement mock audio waveform. I actually decided to just prompt it with these specific details because I don't want us to get lost in whatever it implements, because we can always just implement this later and have it implement transcribing, also the audio waveform. And if we have it do a lot at once, then it's a lot of code to review. And we want to do these things step by step. You don't want to just tell it, hey, build this app for me with that transcribes the video, that has playback controls, that scrolls the waveform as I'm playing the video. So let's see what it builds. So it says I'll create a React application for video upload and preview based on your requirements. Here's a complete implementation. It's building out the code right now, and I can see that the app has the root path, and it's going to be the upload page, which is fine for now. It's going to use this state to set the video file, and then the edit path is going to have the edit page component. Great, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted two separate pages. One is for uploading, and the other one is for, here it's generating some more React code. Looks like it's, the first thing it worked on was the home page, and then it created the CSS, and then it put together the package JSON to import the libraries that my application is going to use. And let's see the description. It looks like it is done. So let's read this description. Okay, it explains that it created a React application just like we asked, that lets users upload videos and preview them on an edit page, exactly like we described in our wireframes. That's what these are. And here's a list of the features that the app includes. It's the upload page where you can drag and drop interface. It has a drag and drop interface for video uploads. There's a button to select videos from your file system. And it also validates that only videos can be uploaded, which is great. You want to make sure that the user isn't trying to upload an image or something else, a different kind of file. And then on the edit page, it created a split panel layout with the transcription on the left and the video on the right, just like we asked. I created a mock transcription data with timestamps. The video player has some basic playback controls, and then it created a mock audio waveform visualization at the bottom, just like we asked. Technical details. It used React and React Router for navigation. It implements state management so that it can track the uploaded video and the current state of the playback. And then it used CSS for styling the pages. And here's some instructions for setting it up with React. So what I can do is take this and start a project in Cursor. So here's my dependencies. It's using React Router. And then here are the scripts to run the application. Here's the CSS. And then here's the application that we were looking through before. We won't look into the code. Actually, let me look into it right now. So the upload page is a component. This will be easier to view inside of Cursor, inside the editor. So I'll just do it there. But I do think, is there no preview button? I thought there used to be an option to preview. Maybe that's only when it's pure HTML. So let's go into Cursor. Now within Cursor, I have a few projects that I'm working on, but I want to create a new one. Let's go to File, Open Folder. Let's navigate to where I have all of my projects. Let me create a new one. Let's call this Video Editor App. So within this folder, this is where I'm going to create my project. So let's open that there. And you can see on the left-hand side, there are no files, just as we would expect. So let me just copy these over, download as JS. Let me download these other files, the package JSON, download. Let me download the CSS, download. And then I'll go into these are the downloaded files. I'll open up the folder containing my video editor app. I'll drag those in there. That looks good. So now we can see these files here, but they're not being tracked. If I make changes to this, it's not going to track those changes that I've made because I need to set up Git. And let's just say that I don't know how to do that, right? So I'm going to use Cursor to help me with that. I'm currently in a project folder that I would like to track with Git. Can you please set it up so that I can track this project? And I'm gonna make it agentic so that it can execute actions. And then the model I'm going to use, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I've had the best experience with it. Although I haven't experimented with Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is supposed to be the leading LLM right now. But let's just submit that. It knows that I'm in the project that I want to work in. It starts off by saying it's going to help me set up my Git for this project. So it's going to check if Git is already initialized. It listed out the files that I have, so it knows that I don't have a Git file. It's going to check the status of Git. And it knows now that it's not a Git repository. So it's going to initialize. Now it's initialized this, and it created this git ignore file. The git ignore file is a file where you list out any files or directories that you don't want to be tracked in the history. So for example, this is a directory. You don't want your dependencies tracked because that's just too many libraries. Okay, great. So it created that git ignore file, and then it's going to create a basic README file for this project. And it already knows that it's a video editor app because it looked at my files. Does it show that it looked at them? Well, it did look at the names. It doesn't show that it went into them. So that explains why this README is not very descriptive. And it even created a getting started and then a list of the features. I can even open up that. Let's see. Oops. I've opened up that README, and then let me preview it using this extension that I have on my cursor. And you can see that here are the steps in order for you to get started. You need to install the dependencies with this command, and you can run the application with npm start. Great. Now I can accept all of the changes that Cursor suggests right here by just clicking accept all, and all of these files that were created with Cursor and any edits that it made into the files that I already had existing, then it's going to just accept them. Or I can look into the individual files. So if I'm within the README file, I can just click accept this one. This is all new content, so it's just one block. It doesn't look like in this CSS file I made any changes. That it shouldn't, because I didn't tell it to. So that should be the same for the JS and the package file as well. The git ignore file is a new one, and all this is new content, so I'm going to accept it. And it's just suggesting that we rename my package JSON file to the standard format. So I'm going to approve that, just run that command in order for it to make that change. So this is a command that's running in the shell. This is a shell script command. And now it wants to add all the files for my commit. That's okay. It's just the first commit, so it doesn't matter. And maybe it will even recommend, it's going to check the status to see what has been staged. I can even open up the source control over here, and I can see that all of these files are staged just because it ran this command here. And it's going to create a commit message. And notice the format. So the format is because I have this cursor rule. I have cursor rules inside of my project. So I go to cursor settings. Let me just make this bigger, easier to see. And you can see that in my rules, I have these rules that where I've defined right commit message. So right here, let me actually move this over to a markdown file. So it is markdown, and then preview it so that it's easier for you guys to see. But this is basically the rule that I have under commit messages. I'm telling it to write commit messages according to the following guidelines. Here's the format for the, it should say commit message. So I need to correct that. But basically the type and then the scope in parentheses and then colon and then the subject. There should be a empty break line here and then the body of that commit message. The subject is just like a one-liner. It's like your email message subject, right? And the body is your email body. And here's some guidelines. The subject should be less than 50 characters. The body should be 72 characters per line, and so on. You can pause the video and look at these rules that I have. But I have other rules in my cursor settings. I have some for some fundamental principles that it should follow, like write clean and simple. It's not even spelled correctly. Clean, simple, readable code. Implement features in the most conventional way possible. If you want these rules, just message me in the comments and I will provide them. But you can also just find them if you go to cursor.directory. You'll find a ton of rules on there that companies upload. They have their own rules, how to use model context protocol in Cursor. And this isn't actually rules here. If I go to rules, you can see the rules that people have created and they've uploaded onto this platform. So if you have a React project, you would go to React and you can see, say you like this one, then you can just copy it and then paste it into your user rules here under Cursor. I won't go into details on how to configure Cursor because there's tons of videos on that. Feel free to watch one of those. But these are my project rules. These are my application or Cursor-wide rules that I have. And these apply to all of my projects within Cursor. And then there's project rules here that you can set up if you want certain rules to only apply to this specific project. But feel free to check out those other videos. Let me just delete that. I don't need this preview anymore. These are my rules. There was a misspelling I need to correct. I've looked at my rules. Now let's go back to see the last thing that it's going to make. I should have left that open. Let me bring that up again. So here is my rule for Cursor. And like I said, this is the format that I want it in. And you can see that this commit message that it's suggesting for the recent changes that we've made follows this format. The commit message starts here. It's saying that this was a chore, and the chore is a maintenance task or dependency updates. And then the scope that it affects is here. So this is the part of the code base that's affected. It could be the login page, or maybe it's the API that I'm working on, or the configuration. So it's the setup that's correct. So this is the subject. The initial commit is the subject here. And then we have the body of that message. So I'm okay with that. It's only the first commit. I don't really care for it being super descriptive. And it says it did everything that I asked it to do. And here's a summary of all the things that it asked me to do. It created a new Git repo. It created the git ignore file to track or to exclude any files that I don't want to be tracked. It created this README file for anyone who's cloning my repo and they want to learn how to work with it. And then it just renamed this file. It staged all the files. It created an initial commit. And then it tells me that my project is now under version control. So I can track changes. I can run in the terminal here. I can run git status. And it's telling me it's on the main branch. There's nothing to commit because the working tree is clean since I just recently committed all of my changes. Let me just scroll this here. And then if I want to create more branches, I can run git. Let me zoom in. Git branch. So I only have one branch, but I can create more. And if I want to push this to a remote repository, then I can run this git remote at origin so that I can tell it where I want these changes to be pushed to, because right now all of these changes, they're only saved locally. There's no GitLab or GitHub repo where these changes are being saved. So let me actually go ahead and do that so I can show you that as well. Git remote add origin. And in order to do that, I would need to create a repo inside of my GitHub account. And once I create it, then I can provide this command here with the URL so that it knows where to make those changes. I'll do that really quickly. This video isn't about setting up GitHub and how to set up a project on there and connect it to your computer so that you can easily push changes from your computer. That's beyond the scope of this video. So look that up and you should be able to find videos on how to do that. I'm just going to quickly create the Git repo now on my GitHub account. Okay, I'm on my GitHub account and I want to create a new repo. So I will click new and then let's just call this video editor app. And let's give it a good description because this is going to be a project that's publicly available. So I want people to understand what this is. And if I can't think of the words to describe this project, I could even ask Cursor to do it. This is a video editor application that will run in the browser and allow users to edit videos like they do on Descript through the transcript. This is a video editor application that will run in the browser and allow users to edit videos through the transcript like they can on, let me just rephrase it, so Descript. Okay, that's good. I do want it to be public. I don't need a README file because Cursor already created one. I don't need a git ignore file because Cursor created one. I don't. The license for now I'll leave as none. I'm going to create the repo and the repo has been created. So now it's just saying that if I want to add a README file to the staging and I can commit it and then I'm on the main branch. And here's the command that we need to run from my terminal. And this is the origin. This is our application that we just created on GitHub. So git remote add origin, I'll paste that link there and it added it. So now I can run git push. Oh, it needs to set up the upstream because there's no branch here in this project. So I need to add the main branch. So I'll just copy this command and then I'll paste it. So I looked at all the changes and it did push them to my project. So now if I go back to GitHub and I refresh it, you can see that my application is available here. So now back in Cursor, I can look at, let me clear this. I can look at the git log, and these are all the commits that I've made right now. I only have one. And if I just want to look at all of them, git log one line. If I don't want to see the body of each commit, then I can just run this command. Here, let me do it again so it's easier. And it'll just show me the commit ID and then the subject line of that commit. That way, when I have worked on this project over time and I have lots of commits, I can easily identify which commit maybe introduced the bug or I want to go back to and reverse some of those changes and so on. Great, our application is now available on GitHub and the changes that we make here in Cursor are being tracked. So now we can start to update the app so that it looks more like this here. First we want to run it. So if we look at the README, let me just open it in preview mode. We can see that all we need to run is npm start. But first, let me ask, I work mostly in Python. In fact, I only work in Python. It's been many years since I've worked with React, so I don't actually remember how to work with React projects all that well. So I'm going to ask it to look at the README. I'm going to add context here. I'm going to look at the README and I'm going to ask it, in order to run my application and run npm start, do I need to create a virtual environment or where are my dependencies installed? Because this will install the dependencies that I have listed inside of my package.json file. But I want to make sure that they're not installed system-wide, because if I install some dependencies for this project and then some other dependencies for a different project and they have different versions of the libraries, then there might be some conflict. And with Python, I don't want it to be agentic because I'm just asking a question. And the reason I want to toggle this is because the agent will make a ton of tool calls. and asking just asks a question to an LLM rather than an agent. And then I don't want to use my premium models because I have a limit to how many calls I can make to premium models. Most of them, at least the ones that I have displaying here, they're all premium models. The only ones that aren't are 4.0 mini and cursor, which I don't think I have as an option. But you can see if you go to your cursor profile, I can go to my settings and I can see that I've used 403 premium models out of 500. These are 403 requests out of the 500 fast requests that I get. And then beyond that, it's going to run these premium requests slowly. And so I have to be more patient. But if I use a non-premium model like GPT-4o mini or Cursor Small, then there's no limit to how many fast requests I get. And I have plenty of room because my fast requests will be refreshed in 3 days. So I have almost 100 fast requests that I can make over these next 3 days. But I just make it a good practice to change this model to 4.0 mini whenever I just have a simple question. So I'm gonna run that. Oh, right. So it's saying that in Node.js, it's not like Python where you need to create a virtual environment. In Node.js, it's just going to look at my package JSON file here, and it'll look at these dependencies, and any dependencies that it installs when I run npm install, it'll install them to this node modules folder, which it hasn't done yet because I haven't run it. So let me run that right now. Go to the terminal, npm install, and I have 4 dependencies here. It's going to install them right now, and then once it's done, it's going to create a node modules directory here on the left hand side. All right, this is going to take some time to install these dependencies. So while it's doing that, there's another note here that Node Package Manager, it will create a package lock file, which is just locking the versions that I'm using. So it's going to lock it to this specific version for that library, and React is going to use this specific version. And that way, anytime anyone wants to work with my repo, and maybe it's years in the future, it'll lock to these specific versions. That way they can run out my application without running into any issues because the libraries have been updated and maybe some of their methods and their tools have been deprecated and no longer available in newer versions. So it looks like it did install my dependencies. I do see a lot of deprecated warnings. If you're deploying this application in production, then you would want to make sure that you don't have these vulnerabilities so that your application can't be hacked through those vulnerabilities. But for now, I'm okay because we're not deploying to production yet. So now that I've ran npm install, now I can run the next script to start my application, which is npm start. Npm start will run my application. It doesn't have a required file. So this whole thread is about the Git that we've been discussing. So now I can start I'm gonna start a new thread so that it doesn't get confused with the previous messages. But I'm getting this message when I run npm start, and obviously it means that it needs to create an index file, but I want Cursor to do that for me. I'm getting the following logs when I run npm start, and I just copied and pasted. So here's the context, and what it's going to do is create an index file for me. I could have done it myself, but it's a lot easier if I could just have Cursor do it for me because it'll do it in the most conventional way. So here it recognizes that it needs to create 2 directories. One is a public and one is a source directory because projects that are created with React scripts require these files in order for them to work. So let's run this. It's creating, and I can see, if I look at my list of files, I can see it created this source directory and this public one. And now it's going to create the HTML file, which goes into that public directory. So it's done that. I can open it up and I can see that this file is there. And I'm going to accept these. I'm just going to hit Command Y. It's going to accept these changes. It also recognizes that it needs a manifest file. So I'll just approve that here. I'm going to accept those changes. And then now it's going to create an index file in order to associate my React application with this HTML here using the root ID, which is this element. So it'll place, this is HTML, right? It's pretty easy to understand. My React application is going to go in here, and that's what this index file does. So I'm going to accept that because that looks good. This looks pretty standard. And then it creates some CSS for my index file. That looks good. There's a few more changes and I don't want to accept them individually, so I'm just going to accept them all once I've reviewed them. So here is my app JSON file. I already have an app JSON file, so I'm not sure why it's creating a new one. Oh, that's because I named them differently. And if I were to look at my video app, here it is. I'm just going to accept this video uploader. And then later on, I'll tell it, please update this app file with the code from this file over here, which contains the code that was generated by Claude using these wireframes. Okay, created some CSS for that app. And now it's going to create a video uploader component that it uses within my app. And it says it's going to convert the existing video upload app JSON, which is great. Video upload app JSON, it's going to use this and convert it to a video uploader. And look at that. It put together, all I did was convert this, what I already had, into this video uploader. Great. And then it created the CSS. Did I not already have? Yeah, I had the CSS right here. So I think it just copied these files over into this file. And now it's just going to create a little icon for my website. So I'm just going to accept it. And now my application is ready to run. So I approved the npm start command and it pulled it up. And here we go. This is our application that was created with Cursor. Let's see if I click browse files. I'm going to upload this file here. It's just a video. Let's just upload that one. It's just a video of me walking through my Jeep that I have up for sale. And wow, this is amazing. So here's the transcription. Obviously, this is just mock data. I can go back to upload and it brings me here. Let's see if I were to, can I go back? Nope. So let me upload that video again. What page did it take me to when I uploaded? Oh, it's a single page application. There's no other URL. So if I click play, yep, it is playing the audio. Here's the audio waveform. It's just mock data. This isn't the audio of my video. At least I don't think so. Wow, this is amazing. And we just did all of that in less than an hour. So now that my application ran successfully, I can go ahead and click skip continue. Let's see if it has anything else to say. And it just summarized. Here it's summarizing everything that it did. Let me see. Let me ask it a simple question. Again, I don't need to do this right now because I only have 3 days left before I run out of premium fast requests, but I just do it as good practice so I don't ever run out. Before I do that, I'm going to ask it to summarize. Please summarize all of your changes into a git commit message, because what I want to do is save all of these changes, stage them all. I think I've approved them all. Let's see, let me make this small. If I click on this, I don't see any prompts asking me to approve the message. So I'm going to stage all of them. And then, oh, I never ran this command. Did I? Let me run it anyways. I'm asking for omini to summarize the changes. And here's the message. So I'm just going to copy this into this commit body. Great. I'm ready to push these changes. Let me just commit them. I'm okay with that. And I can sync the changes because right now they're only synced locally. If I go into my GitHub repo, they're not present on there. You can see that it's still using the old files. So now what I want to do is I wanted to ask if I still need these files. Based on the changes that you recently made, do I still need the provided files? And I'm going to add all of those files, video, upload, this one and this one. There was another one, right? Let's see, let's collapse this. What was it? Oh, it was the package JSON, which didn't change. It looks like I don't think I need these, but I'm just gonna ask just to make sure. It's just saying if I have confirmed that the functionality from these two files has been implemented and converted over, then I can discard these. So let me, without even looking at the code, I can just discard them. Let's move this into the trash. I don't think they're being imported anywhere, so it shouldn't be an issue. But if they are being imported somewhere, then it'll cause an issue when I click npm start. No, it looks like it's fine. So I'm safe to delete these files. And Just so for consistency, I'm just going to ask it to summarize this. Great, I just deleted these files. Please create a commit message. And it's going to generate one, chore. That's correct. It's just going to clean up and apply. Oops. I clicked apply to what? Apply to CSS. But it doesn't look like it actually did anything. So let me just copy this actually. Copy, paste it in the commit body, and then commit. And then I can either sync these changes to push them into my GitHub repo, or I can run git push. Before I do that, let me run git log one line. You can see that my origin, which is the GitHub repo, is currently at this commit message. These two updates, which have not been pushed to the GitHub, as you can see here, because there's two changes. Oops. If I were to run git push, then it's going to update my GitHub repo with these recent changes. So git push, it's just now running that. So now if let me clear this, git log one line, and you can see that both my local branch and my GitHub repo branch are now in this commit. If I navigate to my application on GitHub, I refresh, and I can see that now I have these structures. So we just created a React application without really writing any code. We started with these wireframes here. We fed them into Claude to create a template, and then we fed the code that it generated into Cursor. Cursor understood what that code was doing. It created a README file. It summarized all of my entire project, although this needs to be updated. I can just prompt Cursor to do that without having to type anything myself. And now I have an application where I can upload a video. So this is my application. In future videos, we're gonna add on this application and we're gonna add some more features. Eventually I want these things to be working, so as I click play, I want it to move this little playback. If I drag it, it does seek the video, but when I click play, it's not moving it. Also, I want it to display a timeline cursor on this audio waveform, so it's moving through the audio waveform. Another feature I want to add is if I highlight a sentence and I click delete, I want it to delete that segment from the video. That way I can edit my videos through the text. Awesome. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. I'm going to be creating more content like this to show you that you can build applications with very little experience.